while I was a student and before I ever started doing things online, I used to do events in my local area in London, and like 10 people would show up every week to hear me speak about spirituality, psychology, human behavior. And I loved it. I did it for 10 years before.
So wait a second, you went to school to possibly be a banker.
Yeah.
And then what, not that we're going to reverse the interview now. What was the transition to like, oh, I don't want to do this? What happened in your mind or life event?
So I think life event that I met a monk. And I'd never met a monk before at school. So they would come in, we'd have speakers come in, whether it would be CEOs or athletes or celebrities or former alumni or whatever it may be. And one day a monk was invited to speak at a small college session. And some of my friends were getting—
A business session?
No, not a business
session.
Just a general. Just a general, like, yeah. And I was invited to go because some of my friends were getting into meditation at the time. This is early, like, we're talking about like 2006, 2007. So we were doing that, and it was, and my friends were kind of getting into that space. So they were telling me to come along, and I was like, yeah, I'll go if we go to a bar afterwards. Like, that's the kind of guy I was growing up. And so I went along.
And you weren't married at the time?
No, I'm 18 years old.
Okay.
I'm 18 years old. I'm about to start college around that time. And so I go to this event and I hear this monk speak, and I'm kind of there going, okay, when are we going to leave? Like, who cares about this stuff? How does this benefit my life? And I actually walked away feeling completely just reflective, because this monk was saying that the greatest gift was to use your skills in the service of others. Like, he was saying that whatever you've been given,
that was his main theme.
That was his main theme, to improve other people's lives. And it was like, I'd never heard that from anyone before at 18. And I realized that when I was 18, I'd met people who were rich and famous and beautiful.
And you thought
powerful.
that was the stack.
Yeah, but I was like, this guy seems happy. He seems content. He has something that—
At what point in the lecture did that like hit you? Because at one point you're saying, let's go get some beers.
Yeah, at the beginning I was kind of like, okay, what is he gonna say when he came out? And he's dressed in robes and he was from India, and like, I'm a kid in London. Like, there's nothing externally attractive about him. And then as he spoke, like as I actually listened to him, I was just mesmerized. And so I said to him, I just want to follow you around. So I ended up following him around for the rest of that week. He was doing events in London, homes and different things, and then at temples. And then I started visiting him in my summer and Christmas vacations in India.
Wow.
And then when I graduated from college, I went and actually lived with him as a monk for 3 years in India and the UK.
And what did your parents say?
They were like completely like scared and worried.
What's going on with our kid?
Yeah, and all of our friends and family, like, he's been brainwashed. It was like, it's really interesting because, and I'll talk to this about perception. It's really interesting because everyone now is kind of like, oh, Jay, you just, this is a good story. And I'm like, dude, when I chose to become a monk, it was not a good story. People thought it was the dumbest idea of all time. Like, it was like career suicide.
Like, well,
it was
like,
kid,
you've been brainwashed. What happened?
Like, what happened to this kid who got a first-class honors degree at university, straight A's, like, what is going on here? And all of a sudden, I'm taking this path.
Your parents must have freaked out.
My parents freaked out. And my extended family freaked out even more, which made my parents freak out more.
They came from India?
Correct, yeah.
So that upbringing and that—
going back that way?
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. So— But I felt called. I started listening to my inner voice when I was 14 years old, and it's been so loud ever since. I don't know any other way to go. And so for me, it was so, so loud. And so that was the shift in my trajectory where—
So you come out after 3 years. What happened?
I hoped I'd do it forever.